Today we're gonna look at the most craziest, insane, amazing color hosers that they just don't make anymore. You know, a lot of people look at cards like hate cards these days. Oh, it's a hate card against this color. It's a hate card against that color. No, back then, they destroyed you. You'd be finished. They play this card, it's over. It's the most back-breaking feel-bad cards of all time. But that's how they balance the game. Back in like 1993 to, you know, whatever. All right, we're gonna start off with my personal favorite, Chill. Oh my god, this is such a spell. A blue 1 generic enchantment. Red spells cost an additional 2 mana to play. I would love this card in Modern, just to teach those damn prowess decks a lesson. Oh, you want to play Expressive Iteration? It's gonna be 4! Oh, you want to play Lava Dart? Well, even if you flash it back, you're gonna pay an extra 2, and for the most part, you're not gonna get a bunch of prowess spells off on 1 turn. No, and even if you want to play a random creature, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you. Chill is cooling things down. Big time. I played a lot with this card way back in the day. It was a very, 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 very effective card. And they don't make them anymore like this. And I don't really expect it to ever get reprinted in any capacity. PM says, gotta go with my nemesis, Boil. We can go through the whole list. There's Boil, because that was part of a cycle. Believe it or not. That took place over many Magic the Gathering years. Boil, red 3 generic, destroy all islands. Sadly, this card still remains. It didn't go anywhere. It's actually Modern legal, which is crazy. So this is probably one of the more modern day hate cards that we still see. But back then, you had also Acid Rain. We go back far enough. Acid Rain. So I think there's one for every color. Acid Rain. The strain... Okay, get this. The weirdest thing. So, Acid Rain is a blue 3 generic sorcery. Destroy all forests. Boil can be reprinted a million times. But they made Acid Rain. They put it on the reserve list. Why did they do that? What was the point of that, Wizards? That's why they can, like, print Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth or whatever. Because, I don't know. They don't expect it to blow up, become Blue Armageddon anywhere in the future. So that, but what else there was? I think Flash Fires was another one. Red 3 generic, destroy all planes. There's another one, yeah, Boiling Seas. Boiling Seas. That was like a second way to blow up all the islands. Just in case Boil wasn't good enough. At instant speed, we have Boiling Seas, red 3 generic, destroy all islands. Yeah, there was extra hate against blue, even from the dawn of time. Blue was a good color back then. Back in the day. Acid Rain sounds way cooler than it really is. Oh, Choke, of course, Choke. Again, no more hate cards versus the blue. They had to keep the islands in check back in the day. They had to keep islands in check. Green 2 generic. Islands don't untap during their controller's untap steps. Was Tsunami a card? Tsunami. Oh yeah. Oh my. I actually didn't know this card existed. Where is this thing from? It's from Revised. All islands in play are destroyed. I didn't know. I learned something new today. Green 3 generic, Tsunami. All islands and player destroyed. Man! Stay away from the blue mana. All of a sudden, Teleria looking pretty good. Teleria, the land that adds a blue but doesn't actually really do anything. Remove bans or banding. I guess the real ability on this Teleria was just to protect itself from stuff like Tsunami. Oh, Alpha Tsunami? What did an Alpha Tsunami look like? Nice and dark. I guess they were balancing blue even before blue became OP. They knew they were going to give it Ancestral Recall and Time Twister and Time Walk, and that was above and beyond better than, you know, Lightning Bolt. Healing Salve. Poor every other color. Good morning, everyone. Beanpot, the Circle of Protections. The only one that's really oppressive is Circle of Protection Red. I mean, they don't make cards. They don't make cards like this anymore. The Circle of Protection Red. White and 1 generic. Pay 1. The next time a red source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. All the damage! It's gone. And this is really backbreaking for the red decks that, you know, they're playing like, they're spending a whole card on their source of damage. It's not a repeated source of damage like a creature in play, even though they did have Circle of Protection for all the other colors. So Circle of Protection, I would say also Circle of Protection Black was pretty good, because especially since Black has like barely any way to remove an enchantment, it was a very effective way of dealing with creatures in play. Today we have the Veil of Summer style cards. Alright, we got Gloom. We take a look at Gloom. Oh, a lot of Gloom cards. There we go. 1 black, 2 generic enchantment. White spells cost 3 more. Oh my goodness. It's a super chill. Activated abilities of white enchantments cost 3 more to activate. Just, it's so backbreaking. This was like a 4 of in the sideboards back then. I mean, if you played White Weenie, I mean, you got to get your stuff out while you can, because once Gloom hits the battlefield, now you're like white mid-range. Now you're white clunk. This was an insane card. They don't do this taxing stuff all that much now. It's like, you know, it's like ward this, ward that. Back then they said, no. If you want to play this part of the color pie, you're going to get punished. You're going to get punished hard. You may not be able to even play your spells very well. Does Island Walk count? Because you get an advantage just from the opponent. Nah, not really. It's not a hoser. It's like it's just I wouldn't say they are punished for having that land, but you get the advantage for them having that land. It's like a bonus for you. Aztec Guy says, considering the Power 9 that aren't artifacts are all blue, of course blue is going to get some hate. Yeah, but they printed the hate even before the set was printed. Brad J says, Volcanic Eruption. What do we got going on here for Volcanic Eruption? Blue, X. Destroy X target mountains. What? Volcanic Eruption deals 1 damage to each creature and player for each mountain put into the graveyard in this way. Oh my god. Deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. So basically it's gonna... Oh, it's like an earthquake, and it's... Well, I don't know. I don't know if there is an all land destruction destroy all mountain card in blue. Blowing up them blue stuff. How to burn the burn. Laugh my ass off. Volcanic Eruption is so not blue in color pie. Hey, back then, they didn't care. The color pie was a little weird back then, you know? Hey, you know, blue very often got paired with red, which was Volcanic Island, and every so often there could be a Volcanic Eruption. Bro, man, with the super chat. Hibernation. Yeah, they don't make stuff like this even anymore. Blue, 2 generic instant, return all green permanents to their owner's hands. Boing! Put all the elves back. You put all your effort into putting that Crater Hoof in play. Well, okay, now it goes back to hand. Everything. Sometimes those elves players, they only have like 1 land in play, and that's it. It's gonna be a guy's cradle. It's gonna do anything else outside of that. Perish! Gabik. That's right, a black 2 generic, destroy all green creatures. They can't be regenerated. It's funny, this doesn't really look that impressive anymore, because these days for 3 mana you can just destroy all the creatures. Not discriminate against the green creatures. This is crazy. But back then it was a deal. That was a big deal that they... I mean, by today's standards, it'd be like 2 mana, 2 black, destroy all green creatures in play. How about Anarchy? Let's take a look at it. Anarchy, red, 2 generic, destroy all white permanents. Absolutely! That's exactly what we're talking about. Destroy all the white stuff. Everything. But no, I guess not the planes. The shaman waved the staff, and the land itself went mad. Dizza the Restless, journal entry. It was quite anarchy back then. Oh, this is a great one. Yeah, the red and blue elemental blasts. This looks like blue and red got all the best hosers. And I guess black. Blue elemental blast. Let's look at an old-fashioned one. Sure, good enough. Blue, counter target red spell or destroy target red permanent. So very and those cards still see play today. In Legacy and Pauper, these are incredibly good cards. It's basically the, oh, personally for me, this is the only way I can keep balanced with all those burn decks in Pauper. And then we've got the red elemental blast. So you got to do it the other way around, you know? The blue got their counterspell, red's going to get their counterspell. Counter target blue spell or destroy target blue permanent. This was an interesting card in that this very commonly, a blue deck might want to splash red just for red elemental blast, or you know, some other utility cards, but it was like a really good sideboard card to hate on the other blue decks, whether it be a control deck, whether it be a combo deck. If you use blue, they had counterspells to back up their plan. You used red elemental blast as a 1 mana hard counter to all their counters or their threats. Good stuff. What do we got here? The does life force count? Yes, it does actually. Oh, what a weird card. It's ET go home. Okay, green enchantment. Pay green counter target black spell. That's right. That's how they did it back then. You were up against the black deck. All right, you brought in the life force, and good luck after that. Man, there's a lot of unfun Magic back then. But I guess they could still play around it. They just have to wait to a moment where they can play like 2 spells at the same time. And then they get through the life force. Anyway, what do we got? Elephant grass. I don't remember what this is. Green, cumulative upkeep 1. Black creatures cannot attack you. Non-black creatures cannot attack you unless their controller pays an additional 2 for each attacking creature. True story. What do we got here? Mudslide. Red 2 generic enchantment. Creatures without flying don't untap during their controller's untap steps. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may choose any number of tapped creatures without flying he or she controls and pay 2 mana for each creature chosen this way. If the player does untap those creatures. What? Creatures without flying don't untap. Okay, that's all I needed to see. I needed to see the top part. You have flying creatures, they don't untap. I don't understand. Why would they even be... Oh, sorry. It's creatures without flying don't untap. All right, that makes sense. Because the flying creatures, they're not affected by the mudslide. John from accounting. Cleanse. Or you can't find this card anymore? Can't remember. Sun Cleanser. Oh, they just don't have it. They don't even have it in here anymore. Oh, cleansing. Or maybe thinking of cleansing. Cleansing. White. All land is destroyed. Holy crap! Players may prevent cleansing from destroying specific lands by paying 1 life for each land they wish to protect. I don't think this is it though. But I don't see it here anymore. It's gone. Compost. Compost, or green 1 generic. Whenever a black card is put into an opponent's graveyard, you may draw a card. That was a very good card back in the day. Very good card. Doesn't matter if you made them put the card in the graveyard or they put the card in the graveyard. Whenever a black card is put into an opponent's graveyard, you may draw a card. All right, we're gonna look at more classic hosing cards. Cards that hated on parts of the color pie like crazy. But first, we have to do some upkeep. We got to thank our sponsors, FusionGamingOnline.com. You love the sponsors. Everyone loves the sponsors. Brothers War is coming out. If you want to pre-order that, you can get that at Fusion Gaming Online. In addition to, hey, singles, sealed product, sleeves, binders, card sleeves. They just told me that Dragon Shield Night Blues are back in stock. I feel like buying them out of all their Dragon. It's so hard to find those Dragon Shield Night Blues. I think that's going to be my default sleeve from here on out. Deal of the week this week, save 20% off old gold bordered sets. So if you're looking for a cheap, like, Gaia's Cradle or whatever, you got a play group that is okay with proxies and you want to play with something that looks like the real thing, hey, 20% off at FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu, though. Lets them know I sent you, so it supports the channel. But it also gets yourself an additional 5% off all your purchases. And we're going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. To play any deck you want! Oh, you never heard of Modern before, but you heard that Merfolk made the top 8 of Magic 30? Well, now guess what? You can try that format out without having to completely buy in. For one monthly rental cost or subscription cost, you can play any deck you want in any format you want. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_RUE. Now back to the crazy hosing cards. The cards they don't make anymore. They don't make them like they used to. Alright, what else we got? You gotta love Fusion Gaming. As an EDH player, does contamination count? Probably. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, contamination counts. Black, 2 generic. During your upkeep, sack a creature or sacrifice contamination. Whenever a land is tapped for mana, it's gonna produce black instead of its normal type of mana. No, you don't get to play anything. Get those mana rocks out if you're gonna play on only lands. It's all dark and it's all contaminated. There we go. It writes itself. Monkey, Naked Singularity. Naked Singularity. For 5 mana, we have an artifact with cumulative upkeep 3, which means I guess you're just going to keep this out for like 2 turns. If tapped for mana, plains produce red, islands produce green, swamps produce white, mountains produce blue, and forests produce black instead of any other type. I once played against someone that cast this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to cast anything for the next few turns. I just don't care. Because I don't know what anything taps for. It just makes no sense to me. Why did they even make this card? Shouldn't they known by, like, Ice Age? Oh, maybe Ice Age was the beginning of the cumulative upkeep phase. Then they realized, well, this ability sucks. Holy Light hoses multiple colors. Holy Light. Non-white creatures get Ooh, I never heard of this card. White 2 generic, instant. Non-white creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. I guess it's because, you know, it's really small. Was it going to kill the Prodigal Sorcerer? This guy's naked. Maybe we should have a show one day, nudity on Magic the Gathering cards. This counts. You see this guy's butt! Butt naked. Well, they didn't have clothes in the multiverse? Anyway, bathed in hallowed light, the infidels looked upon the impurities of their souls and despaired. The Book of Tal. Does Knight of Malice and Knight of Grace count? Let's look at Knight of Malice. I would say the Knights back then to some degree count. Knight of Malice, black, 1 generic, 2/2, first strike, hexproof from white. Not nearly as good as just like Black Knight, you know what I mean? Black Knight back then was just first strike pro white. That's it. Simple, clean. So it's effectively a hexproof, but you can't even block the damn thing. This is not necessarily a hate card, but like a hose or anything. But they did design the cards like this. You know, I remember this is how like I first learned the game. Like I quit this game when my friends taught me this. They taught me how to block, and then I'm like, well, this thing has protection, you can't block it. Well, what's the point? What was the point? We got Millmaster here with an enormous super chat. The color hosing card, so good, Wizards banned, and the card and art. Oh god. I don't think they're gonna have the art on here, so which is good. I actually didn't know what this card did until it actually got banned. It actually is a hoser. Whenever an opponent casts a creature spell that doesn't share a color with a creature you control, counter that spell unless that player pays X, where X is its mana value. There's actually a huge cry from the community for them to... Unfortunately, it's on the reserve list, but people want someone to make a spiritual version of it because it's got the blue, 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 blue for an enchantment. There's not many cards like this, and it has a very, very unique effect. Very, very unique effect. Taylor King with the super chat. What are we gonna give you? We're gonna give you the Pokemon one. Omen of Fire. Omen of Fire. Red 3 generic. Return all islands to their owner's hands. Each player sacrifices a plains or white permanent for each white permanent he or she controls. Let me read that again. Return all islands to their owner's hands. Each player sacks a plains or a white permanent for each white permanent he or she controls. I don't get this. Hold on. So it's like a hate card against white and blue? Okay, that's a separate ability. Return all the islands to their owner's hands. And then we have another ability. Each player sacks a plains or a white permanent for each white permanent he or she controls. Oh, I see. So if you want to keep your white permanents on the battlefield, you basically have to sack another white permanent or a plains in order to keep them there. What a confusing card. These days, they like break it up. They break up the abilities in like 2 pieces. Return all islands to owner's hands, and there'd be another chunk doing something else. Have we checked out Bereavement? Never heard of it. Black 1 generic enchantment. Whenever a green creature is put into a graveyard from play, its controller discards a card from his or her hand. Whenever a green creature is put into a graveyard from play... So it's... Oh, wow. I've never heard of this card before. I never saw it. So if a green creature goes to the graveyard, well, you get punished again because you have to discard a card from your hand. Grief is a razor that slices the soul. I've never heard of that one. That's interesting. Maybe they got to... Reading some of these... I noticed that there is like a benefit or a punishment for your cards going to the graveyard. Maybe they could bring that sort of ability back. Justin Sweat, Gainsay. That is an old one. You know what? That one is like a hoser that was good enough to reprint actually in modern day times. I mean, it came from Plane Chase. Blue 1 generic counter target blue spell. I mean, it's very fair in the whole realm of, like, what's it called? Counterspells. Because, I mean, we already had, like, Mana Leak at this point. An actual counterspell for blue. Was there one that we missed here? Okay, we did Boil. We did Flash Fires. We did Acid Rain. Active Volcano we didn't get. And I think there is a Swamps one. I think White has a Swamps one. Active Volcano. We didn't see that Active Volcano. Red, instant. Choose one. Destroy target blue permanent or return target island to its owner's hand. Well, I think there's I think there's another one. Conversion? What is conversion? Oh! Conversion. White 2 generic. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice conversion unless you pay white. Well, that's not too hard. All mountains are plains. Okay, then. Got it. That is just very bizarre. And actually, it's not cumulative upkeep. It's just as long as you have white, as long as you have white up, which you could have for eternity because you already had white for conversion in the first place, all mountains are just going to be plains from there on out. And we have Lord Magicus, my head mod. Karma. What does Karma say? White, 2 generic enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Karma deals damage to that player equal to the number of swamps he or she controls. Oh my god. Yeah, that's definitely a card that they don't make anymore sort of card. You're just trying to play your mana base, and all of a sudden it's dealing damage to you. Deals damage equal to the number of swamps. You know those swamp players, they're gonna have billions of swamps. See, like, back then, it was way more common to have, like, a mono-colored deck. These days, we don't really see that anymore. We don't see... I mean, hey, I'm doing my best to stay true to the mono-color decks. Like, I'm on mono-blue. I guess Death and Taxes is upholding mono-white. But other than that, there's no mono-black. Mono-red is, you know... Burn is splashing white and green sometimes. So there's like Karma plus Urborg for maximum troll. Like back then you see these individual color hosers because like back then, hey, you're a mono blue deck, you're a counterspell deck, you're a mono black deck, you like siphon people's life. You got underneath them with like Dark Ritual into some like big creature really early on in the game. The red decks were still the red decks back. The same, actually, very similar. You know, how M. Hayashi plays Magic today with his mono red decks is very similar to how red was played back then. You know, a good chunk of creatures and red spells backed up. And then we've got, and mono white was mono white. I mean, there was like, and then there were splashes. I mean, they had dual lands since the beginning. But because there were so dominantly so many, like, monocolor decks, like mono white, there was like, what's it called? White Weenie? You know, cards like this had a big impact. We did gain sale already. Oh, Carpet of Flowers. Let's look at Carpet of Flowers. More blue punishment. During your main phase, this is only costs a single green mana for an enchantment. During your main phase, you may add up to X mana of one color to your mana pool, where X is the number of islands target opponent controls. This is beyond stupid. Like, if this card is played against me in Legacy, and I still play Merfolk in Legacy, I feel like it's over. I don't think I've ever beaten a Carpet of Flowers before. Unless they're completely empty-handed. Yeah, you get to add up to X mana of one color to your mana pool. Should be just a blue mana. Where X is the number of islands target opponent controls. So as I keep putting more islands in play, I keep giving my opponent more mana on their main phase, which is beyond dumb. Alright, Jermaine, Death Grip. A lot of people are saying Death Grip. Say like a little, well, like take a look at Death Grip. Black, enchantment. Black, counter target green spell. Oh, it's very similar to Life Force. It's the opposite of Life Force. Right? Yeah. They got Life Force. They did that back then. If you gave one to one side of the color pie, they would give it to the opposite. So there is, you know, just how there was Pyroblast and Blue Elemental Blast. And just like, or sorry, Blue Elemental Blast and Red Elemental Blast. And there was like Pyroblast and Hydroblast. There was the Life Force, and now there's the Death Grip. They should have that fetus-looking thing in the hand. That should be the counter. This little guy in the egg in this hand. Got you. Soul Reap. This is actually a pretty modern day card. Black 1 generic sorcery. Target non-creature. Destroy target non-creature spell. Sorry, to destroy target non-green creature. Its controller loses 3 life if you played another black spell this turn. Got it. All right. It didn't click with me immediately. You destroy a non-creature spell. That's funny. It's destroy target non-creature spell. Usually it's a non-black spell from a black, you know, black removal spell. And then they lose 3 life if you play another black spell that turn. They're waiting for you. The Tailor Lord King with Drought. Oops, I didn't spell drought right. Drought for a white 2 generic enchantment. Destroy. During your upkeep, pay white or destroy Drought. Before a spell that requires black as part of its casting cost, it may be cast, or an ability that requires black as part of its activation cost may be played. The controller of that spell or ability sacrifices a swamp for each black in the spell's casting cost, or the ability's activation cost. That is disgusting. So if I have a spell that's like black 2 generic, I have to sack 2 swamps in order to cast this thing? That is beyond stupid. What was that? What was this card made while I don't know, Black Lotus was still legal? This is just crazy. What else do we got here? We didn't see Typhoon. Oh, the old Typhoon. There we go. Not Shark Typhoon. Green 2 generic sorcery deals 1 damage to each opponent for each island he or she controls. Never heard of it because I don't think the blue player cared all that much about this. But, you know, hey, that is the type of hoser that they don't make anymore. I guess in the late game, when someone has put enough islands in play through thawing glaciers, this thing is going to be amazing. What is Reign of Terror? Reign of Terror, black, 3 generic, bury all white creatures or bury all green creatures. Lose 2 life for each creature put into the graveyard in this way. What, we lose 2 life? Lose 2 life for each creature put into the graveyard this way. This doesn't feel like that big of a downside for the opponent, because I'm gonna like lose a bunch of life in order to make this happen. Guttural response? This is like a modern day hoser that still exists. How old is this? This is just Shadowmoor. So a hybrid of green or red. Counter target blue instant spell. And some people also mentioned Veil of Summer. This honestly is like a classic. This is like a hosing like card of the past, just brought back to playability of today, of the future. Which is a green. Draw a card if an opponent casts a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can't be countered this way. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and from black until end of turn. This is the spirit of like the past brought into the future of today. You know what's funny? This card like barely sees play. When was the last time someone played a Veil of Summer? When was the last time anyone put Veil of Summer in their sideboard? Does anyone even use this thing? Who cares? Yeah, I know it used to be Autumn's. It's exactly Autumn's Veil, but with the card draw attached to it. Infernal Darkness. Darkness. Infernal. Black 2 generic. Cumulative upkeep. Pay a black and 1 life. Well, that's not good. If a land is tapped for mana, it produces black instead of any other type. That's interesting. That used to be a black thing to do. I guess the strategy back then is you get the board, you get a position where you're favored with creatures, and then you slam something like Infernal Darkness to basically seal the game, lock them out of the game, and and then you just try to win from there. I guess that's the idea with types of cards like this. Like, you don't expect them to stay on the board for eternity. They have to disappear at some point. So as you pay more life, you pay more mana, but then you just say to yourself, hey, can I beat this board state? Or I guess you got to splash a little bit of black in order to make use of those swamps. Tiago, Spreading Algae. What the hell is this? Green enchant land. Spreading Algae can enchant only a swamp. When enchanted land becomes tapped, destroy that land. When spreading algae is put into a graveyard from play, return spreading algae to its owner's hand. This is actually modern legal. Can enchant a swamp and blows it up and you get it back. Holy crap. This card is insane. You can combo this with Urborg. Spreading Algae can enchant only... I mean, basically, they shouldn't use the land anymore. This card is modern legal. What was the original one looking like? Oh, it's basically the same. Sort of blown. My mind is a little bit blown that this card exists in Modern. I think it's, yeah, 8th edition. It danger! It danger big time. Yeah, Urborg with spreading algae. Finally, we have synergy. We have land hate synergy with Urborg. They tried not to make it happen, but it happened anyway. All right, Nature's Ruin from Justin. Black to generic. Destroy all green creatures. True story. Isn't it amazing how this doesn't even feel that amazing anymore? For just 3 mana, you destroy all the green creatures. Like, who cares? Back then, it was a big deal, like with Perish. But now, for like 1 more mana, you can have like Damnation, which destroys everything. Also, there's like, what else? There's 3 mana. I can't remember. It's that, like, it's 3 mana, destroy all creatures, and your lands don't untap next turn. We did Boil already. Oh, I like that one. City in a Bottle. I love that one. City in a Bottle. Now, this is technically not a color hoser. Oh, who cares? What is the title of this? It's just oh, it is Amazing Color. Okay, so this is not on theme, but whatever. City in a Bottle, 2 mana. Whenever a non-token permanent originally printed in Arabian Nights expansion other than City in a Bottle is on the battlefield, its controller sacrifices it, and players can't play cards originally printed in the Arabian Nights expansion. What a crazy, stupid card. Oh, the Bantu's Last Reckoning, that was what I was thinking of. Yeah, we did Choke as well. Display of Dominance! Display of the Dominance. Green, 1 generic. Instant, choose 1. Destroy target blue or black, non-creature permanent, and permanents you control can't be the target of blue or black spells your opponents control this turn. See, they're trying to bring stuff like that back, but it's not really all that effective. It's not really that good. We might as well bring up mine. Tidebinder Mage. I own like 800 Tidebinder Mages on Magic the Gathering Online. Blue, 2/2 creature. Merfolk Wizard. Enters the battlefield, tap target red or green creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Tidebinder Mage. I love this card. I don't even remember the last time I played it, but I still love this card. We did Elephant Grass. Reap? I don't know what Reap is. This is Reap. It's an old card. Alright, green, 1 generic. Instant. Return any number of target cards from your graveyard to your hand. You cannot choose more cards than the number of black permanents target opponent controls. I wouldn't really call this a color hoser in any way. This looks like some sort of benefit to you. Lifebane Zombie. You know what? This is like a pretty close. This is like a modern day hoser. But it was really good in standard at the time. White, 1 generic. Intimidate. But when it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a green or white creature card from it and exile that card. Spreading Plague? What is that one? Spreading Plague, black, 4 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature comes into play, destroy all other creatures that shared a color with it. They can't be regenerated. That is crazy. Oh, God. So basically you have to diversify your creature colors on the battlefield. Otherwise, they're just going to all get blown up. This is not the way I looked at a color hoser, but this definitely does count. So basically, you get super punished for being a monocolor deck here. And it's funny, this came out in Invasion, which was they were bringing back the gold cards back then. Like, I think the last time gold cards existed in Magic the Gathering was closer to, like, Legends / Sliver Queen era. And then there was, like, then they had monocolor Central for a very long time. And then in Invasion, they tried to bring back multicolor cards. So Spreading Plague wasn't the greatest card in that set, but it was great to play against any other deck that was going to be like that. You want to have a perfect monocolor mana base? Well, you're going to get hit by the Plague. Reclamation by Elias. What do we got here? Reclamation. Use the word reclamation a lot. Oh, here we go. So white, green, 2 generic, enchantment. No black creature can attack unless its controller sacrifices a land whenever that creature attacks. My god, the poor swamp players. They gotta sack all their swamps. They got, like, all the hoser cards are like, they gotta sack their swamps to cast the spells. They gotta sack their lands in order to attack. They have to pay extra mana to attack. There was the Black Knight. Yeah, we looked at this one. There was Black Knight, and then there was White Knight. So Black Knight, first strike, pro white, just indestructible, basically indestructible back then. Then there was the White Knight. Same thing, first strike, pro black. Beanpot with Hunter's Ambush. Green 2 generic, Hunter's Ambush, instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by non-green creatures this turn. Prevent all combat damage. This is just a fog, though. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by non... This is like a really bad fog. Combat damage would be dealt by non-green creatures this turn. Why did they make fog, but then make it worse? It's so much worse. Oh wow, on this note, did you all do Hunt the Hunter yet? Nope, not yet. Hunt the Hunter. You'll be hunted. Green, sorcery. Target green creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It fights target green creature an opponent controls? That's hilarious. They're eating their own. It's cannibalization. I think this is the first one where, like, a card from its color hates on the same color. Yeah, it hates on the same color as the spells. Please look up Sirocco. You want to see a red spell absolutely get countered in Legacy? Cast Sirocco. Sirocco. Alright, we got red 1 generic instant. Target player reveals his or her hand to all players. For each blue interrupt card that player holds, he or she pays 4 life or discards a card. Holy moly! So you have to reveal your hand. What is the Oracle tax? Is it now instant or is it still interrupt? Target player reveals their hand. For each blue instant card revealed this way, that player discards that card unless they pay 4 life. That is disgusting. Why doesn't this still see some play? It looks pretty good. Like, it looks like an anti-Delver card for red. I guess the problem is once they're empty-handed, this card would suck. And I guess you could brainstorm in response. If you have green fog is worse. Fry slide. Oh, Rending Volley. Let's look at Rending Volley because I think this saw a little bit more play. Yeah, this is what happens when you... And these cards are still playable today. They just don't do this anymore. It's so rare for them to make cards that hate on a very, very specific color of the color pie. So red, instant, Rending Volley can't be countered by spells or abilities. Rending Volley deals 4 damage to target white or blue creature. The sky offers few hiding places. Oh my gosh, Sirocco's art is so good. What's going on here? Chalupacabra, Mana Web. What's going on here? I think I saw a few people mention this card. 3 mana, artifact. Whenever any land a target opponent controls is tapped for mana, tap all lands he or she controls that can produce any type of mana that land can produce. Alright, so basically you tap one, you tap all. I guess, by today's standards, it's not that big of a deal. But back then, because of, you know, mana burn, if you had to tap your land for mana, you had to spend that mana. If you don't spend the mana, you're going to get the burn. You're going to feel the mana burn. What a weird mechanic that was back then. We did Death Grip. Welcome, Duma Diat. Nice avatar. Huge chess fan. There's also Wrath of Merit Lage. What is Wrath of Merit Lage? Wrath of... Oops. This thing doesn't exist. Wrath of something. Wrath, Angel Wrath, Wrath. I don't know. Oh, I don't know why I wasn't finding it. Whatever. Okay, so Wrath of Merit Lage, blue, 3 generic enchantment. When Wrath of Merit Lage comes into play, tap all red creatures. That's good. Red creatures don't untap during their controller's untap steps. That's also good. Ned, yes, this is what I'm talking about. They don't make these cards like this anymore. So if you stabilize into the late game, you just slam the Wrath of Merit Lage. They're frozen. The red creatures, they all get tapped, and they never untap during their controller untap steps. So good luck. Oh, I see. But they could still play creatures and then tap and attack them. They just won't untap after that. It should also be, it should also say that whenever a new red creature comes into the battlefield, it also gets tapped. Is Blood Moon a color hoser? Technically no. Technically no. What is Honorable Passage? Honorable Passage. White, 1 generic instant. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to target creature or player this turn, prevent that damage. If damage from a red source is prevented this way, Honorable Passage deals damage equal to the the damage prevented this way to its source's controller. That's absolutely a color hoser. Yeah, that's right. You want to lightning bolt me for 3? No, lightning bolt you! I'm surprised they don't have more cards like this, actually. Cards that, like, you know, will redirect the damage. We need more redirect damage! Like, that's, you know, they've made divert misdirection before. Did we look at Anarchy? Oh, we did. Yeah, destroy all the white permanents. Did they ever release a permanent that allowed a color word switching? Oh, tons. I can't remember. All I can tell you is that they don't work on Magic the Gathering Online, because I tried to make them work. Oh! This deserves, like, the... It's not a super chat, but this deserves one. Iona. Shield. How did we get this far and not see this one? Shield of Emeria. This is the ultimate color hosing card. This is the color hoser of all color hosers. Iona, Shield of Emeria for a white. 6 generic. We have a 7/7 Flying Angel. And when she enters the battlefield, she will choose your destiny. She chooses a color, and opponents can't cast spells of the chosen color. Holy mother of all color hosers. Banned in Commander. For that reason. Very anti-fun card. I guess these days, for you to get a color hoser of this quality, it needs to cost like 9 mana these days. Was it Sleight of Mind is like a color switcher? Sleight of Mind? No, I guess not. All is Dust is the biggest color hoser? Oh, maybe. All is Dust. Each player sacrifices all colored permanents they control. I still feel like, you know, Iona is the more feel-bad card. But, I know what you're talking about with, like, All is Dust. Ether Flux. Ether and Flux. No, such card doesn't exist. Sorry, that ego-ish. Color protection, any color. We did look at them. We didn't look at color of protection blue. Here, we'll look at one of them. We looked at red and black. I mean, they did one. Whoops. Color protection. Color protection blue. Oh, sorry, Circle of Protection. Circle of Protection blue. This was the most useless of all of them. Because blue decks may not even have a creature in it for you to even, like, prevent damage against. Is Sleight a color hoser? Keep seeing this card. Or is this a color switcher? Sleight of Mind? Change the text of target permanent or spell by replacing all instances of one color word with another. Mind Harness. Oh, here, this is what we're talking about here. Mind Harness for a blue It's an enchant creature. Play only on a red or green creature, and it's got cumulative upkeep, pay 1, gain control of enchanted creature. That's not bad! That is a pretty cool card. I didn't even know this card existed. This actually looks really good. So for a blue, I can steal something. I would be in for having this even in Modern, and I would try to, like, I don't know, like, steal, like, a Ragavan on turn 1. Pay 1. I just have to pay 1 mana, and then I get to attack. I'll get a treasure token, so I'll at least pay for it again. I don't know. I don't know if it'll go anywhere. I've never heard of this card, but it looks sort of playable. I know I gotta pay 1, then 2, then 3. I would be in for, like, more cards like this with, like, a big cumulative upkeep on it. This one's a little off color, but it's a Circle of Protection artifacts. You can survive, and Ether Flux Reservoir hits for 1 mana. I don't know what that is, though. Steven with Seed Time. What is Seed Time? Nice art. Green 1 generic, instant. Play Seed Time only during your turn. Take an extra turn after this one if an opponent played a blue spell this turn. Holy moly! Instant speed Time Walk. This card is disgusting. This card is so good. Why have I never heard of this card before? Is this really not playable? Like in competitive Magic? It is, it's gotta be a commander card because it's like 20 bucks. I know, the Seed Time art is perfect. I had never heard of this card before. You have an instant speed Time Walk if your opponent played a blue spell. And like, if of course, if you play commander, what are the odds no one's gonna be playing a blue spell? Does Carpet of Flowers count? It does, but we looked at it already. Oh, Teferi's Moat! This was like a way of getting around the reserve list of the regular Moat. Because Moat was like white, white, 2 generic. But we got Teferi's Moat. Blue, white, 3 generic. As Teferi's Moat comes into play, choose a color. Creatures of the chosen color without flying can't attack you. Nope. The Moat, Teferi said, this is my Moat. You stay on that side of that Moat. This card is not on the reserve list. Are you talking about, is Seed Time on the reserve list? This is not on the reserve list. I can't believe this card exists. I've never heard of this. It's an instant that you can only play on your... Yeah, but you can do it in, like, you know, they play a blue spell, and in response to, like, I don't know, drawing cards or anything, you then try to Seed Time. Take an extra turn on your turn. You can do it on the stack, is what I'm trying to say. You can do it on the stack. Similarly, Curse of Merit Lage, opposite colors. What's Curse? Curse of Merit Lage, but slightly different hate effects. Alright, so the Curse of Merit Lage is red, red, 3 generic enchantment. I have no idea what's going on in the picture. We've got like a fish, a swordfish, a crab, horse... something. Okay, enchantment. When Curse of Merit Lage comes into play, tap all islands. Islands do not untap during their controller's untap phase. Good God. And there's no there's no upkeep to this thing. Where's the cumulative upkeep? What, my islands are just permanently tapped? That's terrible. Curse of Merit Lage comes into play, tap all islands. Islands do not untap during their controller's untap phase. That is crazy. That's the hose, but those are the hoses they don't make anymore at all anymore. Our world has not felt her thundering steps in lifetimes, but Merit Lage's presence is still with us. Halvor Aronson K. Doran Priest. Stasis hoses all colors from other players' faces. Oh, we saw Spreading Algae. It was a really good one. Permanently tap, but you had to play 3 red, red for it. I don't think it's that hard. In fact, you could pay the 3 generic with, what's it called? Dark Ritual. Wait, what color is Merit Lage really? I'm guessing black? Merit Lage is a black token? What is Blood Knight? Oh, look at that. They went back. They reprinted White Knight and was it White Knight or Black Knight? Yeah, and White and Black Knight, and made a red one. So we got Blood Knight, red 2/2, first strike, pro white. Hilarious. Brad is enjoying the show today. You're welcome. Oh, Deathmark. That's a good one. I actually played that in Standard at one point. Black, destroy target green or white creature for 1 mana. They should bring stuff like this back. You know, just one mana, like 1 mana interaction, but very narrow. So, like, you can't main deck the card. You would have to put it in the sideboard. I'm actually totally fine with, like, Hydroblast and Pyroblast coming back into the meta. Or, like, them reprinting that into Modern. I don't know if they'll ever do that, but I would be fine with it. What is Deep Water? Blue. All mana producing lands you control provide blue instead of their normal mana until end of turn. Not on topic. Does not hate on another part of the color pie. Is there Silver Knight? White, first strike, pro red. There needs to be a counter to the Blood Knight. There needs to be a counter. Is Doomblade really like a hate card? I don't think so. I mean, I guess. I guess. I mean, by technicality, black 1 generic, destroy target non-black creature. So anything that isn't black, I guess by technicality. Did we look at Shimmer? Did we look at Shimmer? I don't know if we looked at Shimmer. We've looked at a lot of these cards. Oh, this is interesting. Blue, 2 generic. Whenever you play Shimmer, choose a land type. All lands of the chosen type gain phasing. Oh, God. Sounds disgusting. To bury unseen land, pay in unseen coin. Your lands are about to disappear. That sounds like a real pain in a what's it called? In a commander game. But the problem is you're never going to want to choose blue. Zeke Fox says, hey, can we destroy 2 target non-black creatures unless one creature is a color that the other isn't? Oh, that thing. I don't remember what that card is. I don't know if I don't even know if it counts. Light of Day. Black creatures can't attack or block. It's basically... I remember this card getting played against me. So, you know, a long time ago when I first started, you know, when I was learning the game. This is one of the cards that actually made me, like, quit Magic. I mean, there's a lot of things that made me quit Magic when I first... Like, I first learned the game, and then basically I gave up because I thought it was stupid. You know, they teach me how to attack and block, and all of a sudden, Light of Day comes out, and now I can't even do that anymore. And yeah, I can't even deal it. And, like, you're a mono black deck. You cannot do anything about this. Your only chance is, like, to duress this thing out of their hand at the beginning of the game, but if you can't duress what they top deck off the top of their deck. I guess these are the modern day hoser cards. You know what? Aztec guy with the sword. I'll only go with Sword of Fire and Ice. But these are sort of like the modern day hoser cards. It's a big cost though. You have to spend 3 mana. You got to equip for 2 mana. But this is the closest we get these days to like color hosers. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has pro red and pro blue. And then whenever it deals damage to a player, Sword of Fire and Ice deals 2 damage to any target and you draw a card. What do we have here? Oh, what's Karma? Hold on. Where did I see that comment? I can't find it anymore. Okay, let's... Auriok Champion. Maybe this is why we don't get these... Like, Auriok Champion saw main deck play for a little while. This was a big sideboard card in Modern. Yeah, I like how these days applies to cards printed almost 20 years ago. So Auriok Champion, white, 1/1, pro black, pro red. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you may gain 1 life. But if you're like only a black or red deck, you can never get through this creature. It's just never happening. Might as well be an unbreakable wall. Egoish with the super chat. Ether Gust was the one I meant. Oh, Ether Gust. Ether Gust. Yeah, this is a pretty good card. Blue, 1 generic. Choose target spell or permanent that's red or green. Its owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. And saw immediate play. It saw play immediately. Probably deserves more play right now than it actually does. The Phyrexian Crusade. Oh yes, black, 1 generic for a 2/2 first striker, pro red and pro white, and it's got infect. There are decks that are not infect decks that play this card, and it's just devastating. You cannot attack into this thing at all. So hard. Maybe Color says, hey, good day. Maybe Naked Singularity. Oh yeah, it does fit the theme, but we saw this one already. Very bizarre, weirdo card. Oh, the Pile Driver! I can't beat this card. 1 red, 1 generic, pro blue. And whenever Goblin Pile Driver attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking goblin. Good God. Oh, did we have Washout? Okay, we gotta end on Washout. I remember this card. Where's the... I want to see the original from Invasion. Blue, 3 generic. Return all permanents of the color of your choice to their owner's hands. Boing! Just go boing, basically. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, because that was a peek of what it was like back in the day. It wasn't fun, and that's basically why they don't do this anymore. It's not fun. You know, you play a certain deck, it'd be 1 or 2 colors, and then just this one card just shuts you down so hard. And then you basically quit the game like I did. But then you come back when you realize that counterspells are awesome. So if you want to be part of the show, hey, we do this Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thank you so much for all the super chats and everyone who's become a member of the channel. Lets me know you love this show. I gotta be here every morning to service you. And we gotta start the morning right with Coffee and MTG. But most importantly, thank you guys for showing up, because it's because of you guys that I have a stream at all. I wasn't coming up with Washout and then the rest of this stuff. And what we had Washout and then Goblin Pile Driver, Naked Singularity. You guys are the show. You guys come up with these cards. So as usual, keep brewing up those coffees and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you